So it's 2 a.m. again, and you're in your bed. You got your phone right in front of your face, and you're searching for something that you would never say out loud. Am I going crazy? And that could have been what landed you on this video. Or maybe tonight it's, is depersonalization permanent? I used to search for that all the time. Or maybe it's depersonalization versus psychosis. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you're having a psychotic break. But the reason why you're typing in these searches is because you look at your hands and they don't feel like they're your own hands. You look around you and everything feels fake and dreamlike. It looks like you're watching a movie versus actually experiencing life. You might feel time being distorted, super fast or super slow. Your mind is a war zone. It's either got tons of, anxious, catastrophic thoughts and they flood you all day long, or your mind is just blank. You can't think of anything. But all of these things have led to you concluding that my brain is breaking. Now, the primary reason that you're watching this video is because you're very concerned that this may be true. And you went to the doctor, which you should do, and the doctor ran all the tests. And they said, hey, you're fine. Like, we've done all the tests that we need to do. Go see a therapist. And then, unfortunately, you go to a therapist. And while I love therapists, I'm working with multiple therapists right now in my own program. A lot of times, they don't really understand what's going on with you. And they give you this deer in the headlights look. But, your friends and family are talking to you. And they're like, you seem fine. Nothing's really different. And, we went to the doctor. Sometimes you've been to the doctor multiple times, and maybe you get some reassurance. Maybe you think about the fact that you got these tests done, or your family gives you some reassurance. Hey, you look fine, and no, that's not going to happen. And maybe for about 10 minutes, you're calm. But the same fear keeps coming back over and over and over again. And meanwhile, it seems like the evidence is stacking up that you're going crazy because of all these symptoms that you are experiencing. It feels so real that your brain just assumes that it's real. But that feeling of going crazy, that thought of going crazy, it has a mechanism. It's not a mystery. And it's not a verdict on your sanity. It's a symptom that comes from a very specific thing that your nervous system is doing right now. And once you see it, you'll know exactly why it feels so convincing, why it hasn't faded on its own, and also you'll understand why reassurance hasn't worked, and you have to keep getting it over and over and over. So let me show you what depersonalization actually is, where the fear of going crazy comes from, and the loop that's quietly keeping it alive. Real quick, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jordan Hardgrave. I've been helping people break free from depersonalization, derealization, anxiety, and panic attacks, other nervous system symptoms for the last 8 years. I went through depersonalization and derealization for myself, 2 years 24/7, 5 years episodic. I also spent over 15 years with generalized anxiety, and there was a point where I was having over 20 panic attacks a day. I definitely was convinced that I was going crazy. But now I'm fully recovered, and I work with over 150 clients at a time, helping them break free, heal their nervous system so they can feel normal again and enjoy their life. Number one, what depersonalization actually is. Your brain has an alarm system. It is called the amygdala, and it works just like a smoke alarm in your house. Before anything else in this video can make sense, you need one sentence. Your brain, like a smoke alarm with smoke, does not separate emotional distress from physical danger. I'll say it again. Your brain does not separate emotional distress from physical danger. Maybe you grew up in a household where the mood could change in a moment and somebody would freak out on you. Or maybe you went through a breakup that absolutely destroyed you and it overwhelmed you mentally and emotionally. Maybe you worked a job that was very toxic or just worked you way too hard and it overwhelmed your nervous system. Or maybe you just had a season where you started to get really terrible sleep. You had very severe insomnia. Think emotionally distressing experiences that you've gone through that were not physically dangerous. But that's part of why you're so confused as to why you have this symptom of depersonalization, because you're looking back and you're like, wait a second, I haven't went through a lot of dangerous experiences. And you go through the list of, supposed traumatic events and you're like, I haven't been in a car accident. I haven't recently lost a loved one. I haven't gone to war. Trauma is not an event. It's a state of overwhelming stress. That's for another video. But you're like, wait a second, why is my nervous system deploying this symptom? Well, that's because your amygdala filed every one of these painful experiences under the same category as a lion in the room. And slowly but surely, your brain started to believe more and more that you were surrounded by lions, even though you are physically safe. When the alarm fires, your body launches you into fight or flight response, even if you are physically safe. Just like a smoke alarm can go off if there's burnt bacon, but there's no house fire. This is where you have an adrenaline surge, the stress hormone. Your heart starts to race, tense muscles. You have this sense of danger. That's fight or flight response working exactly as it was designed to prepare you to fight or flee. But what happens when there's so much stress that your brain is convinced that there's no point in fighting or fleeing whenever you get overwhelmed in your nervous system? That's when you enter the freeze response. This is shutdown. That's whenever depersonalization and derealization show up. It's at that point that your nervous system is like, hey, we have to change the procedure here. This ship's going down. This person is unsuccessful at fighting or fleeing. They're reaching that point of overwhelming stress. Let's go ahead and prepare them to be eaten. And all of a sudden, your nervous system starts to act like the lifeboats on the Titanic, even though they didn't have enough boats, which is a whole nother conversation. But basically, this ship is going down. Let's get this person away from the source of the pain. Let's make this person's death by lion as numb and painless as possible by making them feel as detached as possible from their body, from the material world. You could also see depersonalization as like a circuit breaker in your house. During a power surge, the breaker trips and cuts the power on purpose so the house doesn't get burned down. So essentially, your nervous system, most likely due to a very painful history, it could have been one singular situation that overwhelmed you for sure, and you might have had a calm history, but most of the clients that I work with, it has been several years of painful experiences that all built up. But all of a sudden, your nervous system hit a surge that it couldn't handle, too much adrenaline, too much cortisol, too much tension, too much emotion, too much fatigue. And now, to protect you from what your brain thinks is a lion trying to eat you, there's been a compromise in the brain regions that are responsible for you feeling connected to your body, self, and environment. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk calls this the mohawk of self-awareness because it's a series of brain structures that resemble a mohawk haircut. What that translates into for you is you start to feel very unreal. You start to feel very detached. So depersonalization is your brain's very own surge protector. But the problem is it's the right symptom deploying at the wrong time. You are physically safe, but your nervous system is convinced that there's danger because of all the emotionally distressing experiences that you've been through, and that accumulation over usually a long period of time led to a point of overwhelming stress in your nervous system. This is not just anxiety. I hear people say all the time that depersonalization is a symptom of anxiety. It is not. That's part of fight or flight response. Depersonalization does not happen until your nervous system gets overwhelmed and you enter the freeze response. But what's very important for you to understand right now, and this is directly connected to understanding the fear of going crazy, is that your nervous system is in an all-out state of survival. Which leads me to point number 2. Let's talk about where the thought/feeling of going crazy comes from. 3 mechanisms are stacking on top of each other. First, it's coming from the terrifying experience of feeling detached from your body, self, and environment. And whenever you have no idea what it is or why it's happening, the experience itself is so terrifying that you conclude, I must be going crazy. I remember sitting at my mom's table, and the fear of going crazy was so thick that you could cut it with a knife. I remember sitting there just kind of looking off into the wall and being like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to get married. I'm never going to be able to have kids. I'm the guy in my family that went crazy. And if you would have came and even told me that I wasn't going crazy, nothing could have convinced me because of how deep of a state of survival that I was in. And to me, well, I feel crazy, so I must be crazy. My symptoms initially happened after a very bad marijuana experience in 2008, which I've got a video on my channel where I tell the whole story about that. But I was absolutely convinced that I was losing my mind. And I thought that the marijuana broke my brain. I was convinced my friends must have laced the weed because they didn't have that response, but I did. And I had no idea what depersonalization realization was. I didn't even know what a panic attack was. My mom had panic attacks growing up, but I didn't connect that with what I was experiencing. I thought for sure that I was going crazy. But secondly, part of fight, flight, freeze response is that there's a compromise in your prefrontal cortex. This is the logical center of your brain, and it's compromised because in a state of survival, you don't want to rely on your thinking brain. Okay, think of it like Bruce Banner brain versus Hulk brain. Bruce Banner brain is very slow, but it's also very logical, critical, creative, contextual, things like that. But it will get you eaten if your nervous system needs to rely on that. Now think Hulk brain, it's very catastrophic, it's very anxious, but it's very fast, okay? And that's why in a state of survival, you go from Bruce Banner brain into Hulk brain. But therein lies a massive problem that you're facing right now. Your ability to out-logic the fear of going crazy is not there because the logical part of your brain is not even working very much right now. Trying to out-logic any sort of irrational fears that your survival brain is giving you right now is literally the equivalent of like trying to put out a fire with an empty water hose. It's not going to work. And that's why you find yourself mentally wrestling for hours and hours a day, but it never seems to get you anywhere. Thirdly, your brain goes into something called catastrophic risk assessment mode, because in a state of survival, assuming the worst will keep you alive. I want you to think about it. If a lion was chasing you and your brain was catastrophic, that would drastically increase the chances of survival. What if the lion jumps over here? What if the lion jumps over there? If you're prepared for everything, if you're very catastrophic, that is going to increase the chances that you are going to be so on guard that you won't take a risk that will get you eaten by the lion. But here's another problem. In the absence of a lion or any sort of physical danger, your brain can't catastrophize over a lion, which would actually help you if you were under danger. So what happens is catastrophic risk assessment gets attached to your mental health or your physical health. This is also a big part of what leads to health anxiety or several strains of OCD. Your brain starts to be like, oh gosh, what if you're going crazy? What if you're becoming schizophrenic? What if you're dying of a heart attack? What if you have cancer? What if this? What if? Your brain starts to catastrophize, and that's where the fear of you going crazy starts to happen. This is just one of many catastrophic fears that your brain is feeding you that is part of your brain's catastrophic risk assessment that is connected to your body and nervous system being stuck in a state of survival. Now, I want to be clear. You should get checked out by a doctor. But the clients that I work with, they've seen the doctors, they've ran the test, and these tests have shown that these things are not true, but yet these symptoms and fears still remain. And that's why the best that they can get is temporary reassurance. But even that doesn't seem to last because, again, their experience is telling them that they're going crazy. They also have a compromise in their prefrontal cortex, so they can't out-logic them. And also, again, their brain is just flooding them nonstop with these catastrophic fears, no matter how much that they try to get away from them. And that's why in this video, I'm going to give you hope. I'm going to explain the neuroscience of why this is happening, and I'm going to point you towards healing your nervous system, but I am not going to give you more reassurance, okay? I have had so many clients that have came to me and said, Jordan, I lived off of your videos or other videos where I just got temporary reassurance. But if I did that, I'm actually feeding the very problem that we are trying to solve here that's keeping you stuck in this loop. Because one of the things that I've learned after working with thousands of people is that your nervous system doesn't speak words, it speaks evidence. And that's exactly what the third point of this video is about. Point number 3, the loop that's keeping this alive and what your nervous system is actually looking for. If you've been dealing with depersonalization, generalization for several months and especially several years, you most likely have a disproportionately painful history like we've already talked about in this video. That's most of the clients that I work with. They would say, you know what, I've been really stressed out for a long time. This is kind of a long time coming, or I've identified as an anxious person for many, many years, or I've just been through so many stressful events that I kind of knew this is probably going to happen. Again, it could have been a single situation and you had a very calm history, but most likely not. Whenever you've had a long history of these emotionally distressing experiences that weren't physically dangerous, your nervous system has been taking notes, and your nervous system has probably been going into a state of survival for a long time, even before depersonalization generalization showed up once you hit the freeze response because of some sort of situation. Whenever you went through these emotionally distressing experiences, your brain created something called a sensory trigger. And what that means for you is the next time that you experience similar sensory data, so in other words, you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, feel things that are similar to these painful past experiences, your body is going to start going into the state of survival, fight, flight, or even freeze. That's why the symptoms are happening, is because your body is going into a state of survival. That's what's compromising the logical part of your brain. That's what's leading to catastrophic risk assessment. And that's what's leading to these terrifying symptoms that appear to be evidence that you are going crazy. And again, I want to highlight that you don't just have the fear of going crazy. You have the fear that you're the exception to being able to heal. You have the fear of permanence. You have the fear that you're going to become schizophrenic. You have all these fears. This is one of many fears that your nervous system is feeding you as part of a much larger issue, which is that your nervous system is currently stuck in a state of survival, probably due to a very long, painful history. And I'm not totally against reassurance. I give my clients reassurance. I think that getting some reassurance, as long as you're also rewiring your nervous system, is great. But the problem is right now, you're only looking for reassurance and you're not going through the process of rewiring your nervous system. And once again, you're trying to outlogic these fears, not just the fear of going crazy, but all the other ones, whenever you don't even have access to the logical part of your brain to be able to actually do that. I was stuck in this cycle for many years. I would be up all hours of the night trying to get reassurance that I wasn't going crazy or that I wasn't about to die of a heart attack or that I wasn't becoming schizophrenic or all these things. But I'm telling you, we have to go through this process of dealing with the underlying nervous system dysregulation that is keeping you in this state. Your nervous system is craving one signal, and I'm going to tell you what that is. It is the signal of a sense of safety. Your nervous system needs evidence of safety. It's not enough to just be like, hey, I'm safe. There's nothing physically dangerous happening right now. We need to go through the process of retraining your nervous system that your body is safe, that your emotions are safe, that your environment is safe, even that the symptoms are safe. And until you do that, we're just picking apples off an apple tree. They're always going to keep growing back. Your nervous system is overwhelmed to the point that it thinks that a lion is trying to eat you. It literally believes that you are under physical danger. And once we go through that process, not only is the fear of going crazy going to go away, but all these other catastrophic fears and all the symptoms that come from your body being stuck in fight, flight, freeze. And also, once you go through that process, you'll have full access to your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical part of your brain, where you'll literally say this. My clients say this all the time, and I definitely said this. I can't believe that I ever had those fears. And then, of course, the symptoms will be gone, so your experience will no longer be appearing to be evidence that you're going crazy because you're going to start to be safely embodied. You're going to be able to feel calm and normal, be able to be in the present moment and be back like it was before the symptom. So that's what we need to be focusing on. Now, if you're looking for my help to go through that process of rewiring your nervous system, I wish that I could do that through a YouTube video, but this is a very integrated process, especially co-regulation. That's 45% of healing the nervous system, according to hundreds of studies that have been done. People heal people. I'd be happy to take a look at your situation. I've also created a free 5 shifts masterclass for you that will show you the 5 shifts that you need to make to completely rewire your nervous system. There's a link below. There's also a link to apply to work with me and my team. But regardless, we need to do the underlying work that is causing your nervous system to stay stuck in the state, which are things that communicate safety. If we're not doing that, we're not going to truly get rid of this fear. So I hope that this video has explained why this fear is happening, why reassurance is not enough, why you haven't been able to outlogic this fear, and I hope that you will begin focusing on retraining your nervous system that you are safe. That is it. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.